At the late 70s, three major cartels in Mexico decided to split traffic distribution zones among them: Juarez, the Gulf Cartel, and the Federación. More than 25 years, the government and the cartels packed the status quo. Cartels trafficked with drugs and stayed under the radar without harming civilians, and the government did its part. They looked away and got a good share by doing that. A relative peace was a win-win situation for both. The reason why there was no violence was not because the police or the military did a good job. It was because the cartel kingpins had a good business relationship. However, this peace was threatened by the new military strategy implemented by the new government in 2006. Since the administration of former PAN President Calderón, more than 120,000 people has died in the war on drugs in Mexico. This strategy was a bad one. You don't fight cartels with a frontal strike with all the military power you have. Violence spread all over. The government fought in many fronts against the big cartels. With the cartels weak, other small raised everywhere in the Mexican territory. The big five cartels still run the drug corridors to the US, but more than 15 cartels consolidate to control small plazas. Now, everybody is fighting everybody. Military fight against cartels. Cartel fight other cartels. Military struggle with corrupted federales, the federal police. The federal police doesn't work with the Policía Municipal or Estatal, the state police department or the city police department. The media and the international human rights put a lot of pressure on the government to finish this war. And at the year 1989, the authorities of US and Mexico signed a bilateral military treaty called Mérida Initiative, a security cooperating agreement between both countries. US Special Forces trained Mexican soldiers. The military created a special killing commandos like the paramilitares of Colombia in the 80s. These new special forces started to purge regions where they presumed narcos been hiding. This is of course all unofficial. Cartels like Cartel del Golfo started to hire ex-military soldiers and created a private army to fight the governments. This army, Los Zetas, are the most terrifying cartel of all time in Mexico. When the civilians realized that the government could not protect them, they created their own autopatrullas, a sort of private army that protects communities from the cartel harassment. But soon, these autopatrullas saw the potential of doing money with drugs and started also dealing with it. After many years, nobody knew who is fighting whom and who is good or bad. And as long as Mexico shares the northern border with hungry consumers on the other side, this narco war will never end. And this is due to millions of dollars that can be made by drugs. There is no profitable business than cocaine. A kilogram of pure cocaine in Colombia is worth $500. If this kilo gets over the Panama border, it doubles its price. It gets up to Guatemala, the same kilo costs then about $8,000. If the cartel smuggles it to the northern Mexican border, it can be sold in Juarez at $12,000. And if this passes over, let's say to El Paso, this kilo is now $18,000. This madness doesn't stop here. If this kilo gets somehow to the East Coast up to New York, it can be selling $25,000. Now, we talked about the trafficking into the US. Trafficking to Europe is another whole level. 1 kilogram of cocaine can be sold in the streets of Paris, Berlin, London or Madrid at $15,000. Tell me, what business delivers a win of 1,000%? No wonder there are so much debts in this business. It doesn't really matter how much money governments invest on fighting this problem. There's gonna be always producers, consumers, dealers and buyers. This madness is real, and the stuff it's told with can be a good story, or to be told in a movie. For example, in Zona NARCO.